What up? We are doing everything Titanic, Miss Julia. So this is Jamie.
This is going to be a Titanic
Terrell
night
over here.
Terrell.
So you're talking to a lady named Julia, and she loves Titanic?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Julia,
Let's just jump right in.
here's the deal. If there is a special word that we have that we are called, or people who love to learn about Titanic, maybe it's their favorite movie, or anytime you hear the word Titanic mentioned and your attention is drawn that direction, you, my friend, are a Titaniac. You are a maniac about the Titanic.
Okay.
Yes. It's a term of endearment. It
Nice.
just means we're all in it together. We just love Titanic.
Yes.
So you're a Titaniac, Julie.
Titaniacs.
Yeah, we have Titaniacs all over the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
And the
do.
only cure for a Titaniac is more Titanic. That's it. Sorry.
That's the
Yeah.
only cure. That's the only cure. I can see that. Very much so.
So, yeah, that is going to be a hot topic for the show tonight is the Titanic. Jamie works at the Titanic Museum down in Branson, which is also the same company that has the Titanic Museum in
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Yeah.
Pigeon Forge.
Titanic in Branson, I came straight from the ship. This is literally what
Straight
what
from the
I
ship.
wear.
Yeah.
And I literally walked out the door, got in the car, and came right to Springfield.
Nice.
Right.
Everybody in the gift shop was like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Just don't worry about it."
Just
Official business.
Official business.
But we have two locations. We have what we call the mothership, which is the Branson location because it opened first in 2006. So we're coming up on our 17th year, or in the middle of our 16th year. And then a couple of years after that one, they decided to open the second location in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And we have over 400 real Titanic artifacts valued at over $4 million in each location. So we have different in both. Yeah.
of course they're different
They're
because
all
they're
authentic.
real.
Yeah, that's right. We get a lot of people who can't quite, they think, I don't know if they think they're being punked or what, but
Yeah.
they're like, is this really from the Titanic? Yes, I promise you they are. The man who owns the museum, John Jocelyn, he was the second person in the world ever to go down to the Titanic. So he and his team have been down to the wreck site 32 times. They
Oh,
spent
my.
44 days out at sea. That was 1985. Dr. Bob Ballard discovers the Titanic. 2 years after that, the owner of our museum was an executive at CBS Programming. And I don't know if any of you out there can remember when Geraldo Rivera was going to open Al Capone's vault on live TV.
Yeah.
Many, many years ago.
Yes.
Well, John Jocelyn, the owner of this museum, was an executive producer at CBS at the time, and that was his show. He did that. He produced that. Well, Al Capone got us. There wasn't anything in there, but it was live TV. What can you do? But that TV show, that live TV show, was the highest rated TV show in history. And so after that, the higher ups wanted ratings, right? And they come to John and say, well, what's the next big thing? What are we going to do next? So he thought about it for a while. And little did CBS know that John was a big old Titaniac. And he had gotten interested in Titanic since he was a little boy. And he read a book called A Night to Remember by Walter Lord, which is one of the best, in my opinion, books that you could possibly read about the Titanic. Anyway, he said, well, they just discovered the Titanic. How about we get a crew together, we go down there, and we do the first televised production of what they found. So the first time the world ever saw Titanic on TV is the work that this man did, because when Bob Ballard discovered it, he didn't take any artifacts up. He just discovered it, marked the spot, took a few pictures. That was it. So the first time the world really got to sink their teeth into it is the work that this man did. It took a year of gathering all the teams and everything you needed. It was a $6 million operation. And they
Wow.
completed 32 dives.
Wow.
I know.
That is really cool. That gives me goosebumps because I didn't know that the owner of the Titanic Museum has actually
Yes.
he has seen it.
So when I first started at the Titanic, it was, I'll tell you, it's 15 years and 7 months ago because I just checked. Anyway, we have, the second museum wasn't built yet, but John and Mary, the co-owners, they have a home there in Branson, and they were at the museum all the time, and they're very hands-on. And I would ask John a million questions a day about Titanic. John, when you went down there, what did it feel like? Was it cold? What did it look like? Were you scared? Everything just, you know.
Right.
And he would humor me and answer all my questions. I said, John, when you went down there the first time, what was that like? And he said, Jamie, when they put you in that little vessel, there's room for just you and a couple other men. And when they lock that hatch down, there's no getting out. You're in there. And they drop it in the water, and it free falls
Oh,
on its
my.
own. It takes it 2 hours to get 2 miles down to the bottom of the ocean.
2 miles.
I know.
2
How do they
hours.
decompress? Like what's
Exactly. He said if there is one microscopic hole or tear in that vessel, you're just
You're dead.
instantly vaporized,
Yeah.
basically,
Oh,
the
my.
pressure of it.
Yeah.
So I said, the descent down there, you get a lot of time to think, and it starts to get really cold because it's North Atlantic, it's cold water, and it starts to get very dark because you're going 2 miles down.
2
and,
miles.
So it's pitch black dark. He said, but we're going to do the task, we're going to get the footage, and we could have just we knew we're hovering over Titanic's wreck, but we didn't know exactly what part.
Right.
And so when it came time to thrust those lights on, pop, so we could get to work, he said, the knife edge, the bow, I'm the king of the world, that
Yeah.
spot,
Yeah.
that's what we were looking at.
Oh my.
So when those lights came on, it was like Titanic said, you want me?
Here I
Here
am.
I am.
Oh my God, look at that.
I know. So I'm just sitting there like, oh, wow, And he said, okay, our first couple of hours was to get the task, get the footage, He said, but the longer I was down there, I started to see a doll's face, and then I saw a pair of shoes, and then I saw a stack of plates, unbroken, hundreds of them stacked, like
Wow.
they'd been stacked that day, it looked like. He said, and something came over me. I don't even have words to tell you what. He said, but I realized it hadn't always just been the face of a doll. It hadn't always just been a pair of shoes, and somebody had stacked every plate, not that day, but one day they had.
Oh my gosh.
He said, I vowed to myself, and I didn't tell anybody, and I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know where, but I vowed that one day I would have a place where I could pay tribute to whoever held that doll, whoever walked in those shoes, whoever stacked those plates. So the Titanic Museum is about a 20-year dream of his come true.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people think, just some guy opened a Titanic
Right.
Museum
Oh,
in
it's that
Branson.
Branson thing.
Some rich guy had
Exactly.
blah, blah, blah.
And they don't know how personal it really is.
Right.
So when you come to the museum and you've been, you can see how much attention to detail. It's very personal because
Yeah.
we get to be the gatekeeper, the undertaker for their memory. All those 2,208 people who were on board, passengers and crew, and the ship itself, we get to be the ambassadors for their memory, and their memory is their legacy. So I'm very proud to work there.
Oh, that's so
fantastic.
That's probably more about any of that you wanted to know.
No.
No,
This is
I
why you're
love
here.
that. That's-
This is exactly why
That
you're
just
here.
changed my whole attitude about the museum and everything else. I had no idea because Branson does
Right.
sometimes have a way of like concealing the fact that some of the stuff they have there's really
It's
awesome.
really cool.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like it's become such like a tourist attraction
Yeah.
and such a like, so when you're going down Branson, you see the big King Kong up on the thing.
Those are our neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, and then across the street is Titanic, so you just assume it's all just kind of like a whatever.
Everybody thinks it's cheesy.
Goofy,
Yeah.
cheesy shows, and it's like to know that the person who does actually own that museum has done what you just explained.
That makes it even better.
Oh, that's way, way better. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people ask too. One of the main questions is why is Titanic Museum in Branson, or why is it in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee? Location. Branson is centrally located, so it's drivable from all four corners of the United States. So as many people who would like to see these things are able to. Same thing for Pigeon Forge. We are right there at the mouth, basically, of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is the largest national park in the United States. The second largest, the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
I was surprised when I learned that.
Yeah.
So again, location.
Yeah, yeah. We have a question already from
Yes,
someone.
we do.
Jared says, "Are you tired of answering questions about Jack and Rose since they're fictional characters?"
No, actually, it's one of my favorite questions to answer. And we get, I'd say, over half the people that come to the museum are there strictly because that's their favorite movie.
Right.
Yay,
That's
team.
cool.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
And once they get in the museum, all the crew that work there, like me, we get to share all those real stories of the real people. So when somebody comes up and the question's always like this, big fiery eyes, and they say, was there really a Jack and Rose on Titanic?
Right, of course.
So we don't crush their little blue heart right away.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. Nicely put.
And in fact, all of the crew members that work at both museums must go through Titanic College, which is a real thing.
Wow.
And I'm the professor for Titanic College.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
it
great.
is a 3-month immersive program, and you do have to take a test. And
Immersive. I like that word since we're
you're
talking about the
You're
Titanic.
immersed in it. It's all things Titanic.
see
Not
what you did there.
submersive, but immersive.
So we cover everything from 1912 etiquette. How would you do a lady's curtsy? we changed saying yes, ma'am to, oh, right this way, madam. Or let's say when we're giving each other a break, it's time to go eat your cold pizza for lunch. We'll come up to you and curtsy to you and say, you've been summoned to the galley. They'll say, thank you. And off they scurry,
Nice.
But we're trained to, when someone asks that question, to not answer it right away. The first word should never be no. Even though it is no, we're not going to say the word N-O. First thing out of our mouth is going to be, okay, you're going to be the guy. You ask me, was there really Jack and Rose?
Was there really a Jack and Rose on the Titanic?
Are you a fan of the movie Titanic?
I am.
Me too. Jim Cameron, when he was writing the movie, he did a lot of research, about 10 years, just like the boarding pass you have in your hand. That's a real person. And he gathered from several hundred different ones, a phrase one might have said, or the way one might have looked, or a situation one might have been in, from several hundred, and he smashed them all together. And then he created Jack and Rose for us. It made a great movie, didn't it?
It did.
I told you no, but I never said the word.
That's right.
And
That's
your little blue heart of the ocean
It's
is still
glowing.
beating in there, okay?
It's glowing a little
Exactly.
now. Just like
A little softer place to land, right?
fantastic.
Yeah.
Very smart. Very smart. Very good way to
Because
go.
we knew we
that's
were going to get those
great.
questions
Yes.
in abundance.
Of course.
So,
And this came after, the museum came after the movie, correct?
yeah, the movie comes out in 97. We don't open until 2006.
Yeah.
And people will round that corner and see our beautiful grand staircase. And they'll go, oh, was the movie shot here? Did they shoot the
Right.
movie here?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here's a little tidbit. The museum, it's about halfway on your tour when you round that corner, and it's actual size and it's impressive.
It is, yes.
They actually use the actual blueprints of the real Titanic to build that room that you're standing in. So it was actually built in Hollywood, California, on a sound stage by the same company that built the one for the movie. And then it was shipped to Branson piece by piece, and then they put it back together. So in the movie, Jim Cameron built it much larger than ours is, because ours is done from the exact plans, exact size. But Jim Cameron did his research, and he found that people in 1912 were smaller stature.
So he built a bigger.
So what he did was, average height today for a man is around 6 foot tall. 1912, average height for a man was 5'4".
What?
Yeah. Yeah, and they were very tiny, very frail individuals. I always say today we've got vitamins and buffets and we grow up big and strong. But
Because when I went there, I was like,
The beds are
this
tiny.
staircase seems smaller than it looked in the movie.
it's by design, literally.
It is.
So he said, okay, look, if I build it the exact size it really was, and I put today's size actors on it, once it transfers onto film, it's going to look funny. It's going to look really weird. So I need to accommodate for that and make the staircase about 25% bigger.
How smart.
So that, it's Jim Cameron. There's a reason why he won 11 Academy Awards,
No
right?
kidding.
And
And that's just one tiny little detail you're talking about.
Yeah, and
Oh
we
my.
built just the top 2 levels. The staircase would have extended down for another 5 stories.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, it was
So we
5
have
stories underneath
a
it.
multiple of comments.
I was going to
and
say,
stuff.
Bono's here. He said, "This is so dope."
This is so dope.
And he
Okay.
said to Jamie, he said, "Thank you for all the awesome moments, Jamie."
Oh, Bono.
Cool.
Yes, I
He's
remember
watching.
Elvis and Bono coming when they were little. And it
Yeah.
was Elvis that played the piano for us that day,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You actually let him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It was great.
Oh yeah.
And then Corrine, our friend Corrine, says, "This is freaking amazing. Please keep going."
Okay,
Well,
well-
you were talking about, well, that's a lot. Probably too much. No, it's not. That's why you're here.
Well, I am a little blue beating heart in here, Titaniac to the soul.
Tune in live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central.
On the Unsung Screamers Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Twitter.
And check out our Unsung Screamers podcast.
Wherever you get your podcasts.